Hmm.
The button's been hit.
Okay.
Was that the button's been hit sound that you made, Edward?
Yes, it was. That's
fantastic.
Great.
Okay. Not too much to remember from last session. Only all
the dialogue, all the
dialogue,
stress.
all the stress, all the pain, all the horror, all the reveals, all the sad. Bluey.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any feelings about everything that was revealed about you last time, or what you may have learned.
Just that this is just
Going is an acceptable option as well.
that there's it's tragic when the way that you want to help things, or also the way that you want to like help yourself process things, is just not. It's just absolutely not an option, and it will make things worse.
Yeah.
You know.
I will make things worse.
Whoever designed the game that way is just a horrid psychopath. Lily, how are you feeling? How's Ulster feeling?
Distressed as usual, but it's a pretty constant,
Yeah.
Screaming into the void.
And Aelin, absolutely nothing, of course. Just you had some nice times in the tavern, plotting with Sarazar and nothing else to think about. How are you feeling? Sleer?
there is no war in Ba Sing Se.
Okay. On a genuine note, you guys made a plan at the end of the last session to, after all the trauma in Soreloras's mansion, you decided to go to the rather more seedy underbelly of Ironstone as 2 humans, a tiefling and a furbolg. And I cannot remember who is who, so you guys will have to remember. I'm pretty sure Ulster was the furbolg. Loran was the tiefling, and I think his name was Blaze or something like that.
I have it written down.
The tiefling was named Musk.
Musk. That's Loran. And I think you guys turned into humans.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, we have.
And I believe, if I remember rightly, that your goal was to attempt to reach out to some of your contacts and figure out where Big Ed may be, to begin the sort of final push into Eldrelith's Watch, and take out everyone who has been slaying a prayer in the bad way with this terrible
That's because we slay a prayer in the good way.
Exactly. Now, obviously, few details you guys remember which are important is that you have 4 targets that seem to be the most important to eradicating this. You've got Big Ed, you've got Birch Blackfeather and Zenith Bloodborne, and you have Azkarak. And of these 4, you guys feel that Birch and Zenith, you have got them sorted due to the agreement you made with Dral, who will stand by with an assassination order waiting for you guys to give the word. And for all you know, he is on his way right now to Eldrelith's Watch in order to carry this out, and is ready at a moment's notice. Big Ed, you get the impression, was the one who poisoned the gauntlet. And obviously you guys know that if you guys don't do anything, there is a swarm, no less, of infected people, which the only thing keeping them from the rest of a prayer, Ironstone, which seems to be the last safe location, is the Green Sea. Is also on the side where Eldrelith's Watch is. You've not been there yet. So you guys don't know how horrid things are there. If they're infected, if there's no infected, it's hard to say. And the other detail is because, of course, there is a conflict between Bahamut and Tiamat, having met with various individuals like Clara Cerberus, with the Thieves Guild, with Sai. Over the course of this campaign, you've put together a few details, all of which have led you to the conclusion that there is a dragon, or at least some aspect of a dragon, being controlling things, being controlled in the underbelly of the palace in Eldrith's Watch, which seems to be the kind of focal point of this whole thing. If you are able to eliminate all of these threats, you get the impression that you'll be able to save your family, your friends. Chorus, who is severely weakened by this sickness. Marlena, who was only saved from it by basically divine intervention from Rolmy. But that protection you can't extend to everyone in Eldrith. So what are you going to do? And now you guys, having waited for nightfall so that the seedy underbelly can be even seedier than it is during the day, you cloak up with your disguises. You head out of the tavern you were staying at and into the city itself. Is there anything you want to do in preparation before you guys head out?
Did I have
A few drinks.
A few drinks. You'll take a round or two. Loran will, of course, fund this. He's got a tab going.
So generous.
I have changed
Nothing if not generous.
Emma, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Would we we've interacted with Big Ed enough to say or I'm happy to roll for this. Have we interacted with Big Ed enough to remember a particular item of clothing or an accessory he wore or a weapon he carried?
Of course. Let me think.
I do not have my notes from near the beginning of the campaign in front of me.
That's fine. I'm going to just check.
Because I'm going to prepare locate object just in case.
Yes, then you would have. I think that you would have remembered Big Ed had a sash that he wore, a purple sash. It's something that you saw in the tavern, the Salt and Plank Tavern, at the very, very start of the campaign. It is what Loran pointed out as being indicative of him, his true identity as being a pirate, essentially.
Okay. All right. I think I will picture that, I guess, but I won't cast anything yet. I'll just.
Okay. So you guys, with that in mind, Bluey, you guys bid farewell to Daniel and Lucas at the tavern. They choose to stay behind, knowing that someone's going to have to hold down the fort here. Anna Ashun and Enda and all the others, I believe you left on Loran's ship, which is at port, which isn't that far from you. So if you wanted to go there for whatever reason, it would only take about an hour or so to get there from here. Marlena, of course, is also there, and she's recovered. I'm just trying to get bearings for you in case you want to know where anyone is. Saraza and Loran are coming with you. Saraza...
We don't have a disguise for him.
Does not have a disguise. But he pulls his cloak low and just sort of like puts a what's it called? A scarf around his mouth to sort of hide his face because he is a
I
public
can draw
figure.
a moustache on him.
Unless you're very good with a pen and pencil, Ulster,
I am very good with pens and pencils, actually.
Right.
The sketches.
Does anyone have a
Yeah.
disguise kit? Emma is asking.
Can I use
should.
charcoal?
Okay.
Yes, I am proficient with disguise kit. It also have.
Okay. So, Ulster, you draw a little charcoal moustache on there. And Saraza says, right. And then leans over to you, Astra, and says, and could you make this look a little more 3D?
I can do my best.
Okay. Because at the moment it looks like he's got a grey smudge on his upper lip.
Yeah.
He works in the mines!
Astra will give Sarazar a full facial makeover. Like, the I can't believe you didn't take the magical makeover kind of vibe.
Well, I don't think to be fair, I don't think he was there when that was being doled out. But that's fine, because guess what? This is more interesting and fun. So Slia, can you please roll me a d20 and add your proficiency modifier as well as your dexterity? I think would be appropriate for that.
Okay, I rolled a 19 plus 1 for dexterity. Plus 1 for dexterity,
Efficiency
plus
is
3. So 19 plus 4 it is going to be 23. I'm so
Fabulous.
great at adding nines, y'all. Just the absolute worst.
Aww.
It's my number that I just struggle with.
Add 10 and then take 1 off.
Yeah, that's how I usually do it. I'll do it as if it's tens, and then however much it's times by, I just take that off the final number. But I don't think that's exactly. I don't know if that's infallible. I think sometimes I make mistakes.
It just takes me longer because of the gay maths, you know.
Gay math. I get you.
I found out it's something called dyscalculia or something. Dyscalculia or something.
That's correct.
That's the thing. Yeah, big tears. For all of us who were forced to do straight neurotypical maths. Disgusting.
None of that hetero-neurotypical maths.
I refuse to do hetero maths.
I'll only do gay maths.
And girl math.
And girl math, if it's on sale and I buy it, then I've saved money.
This analogy is really it's like it's leaving the station.
So Sarazar's got like contouring.
Tell me what he looks like.
He's got contouring. He's got like a fake nose applied.
Handsome Squidward.
Yeah, you know what? He's handsome for 8 seconds. Which I'm sorry, it's I have to make the Centaur World reference because that's what my brain does. Yeah,
he looks like handsome Squidward Sarazar.
Yeah, he definitely does not look like Sarazar. He almost looks like he's in drag.
Nice.
He gets a look of himself in the mirror and is like,
What's your drag name, Sarazar?
he starts voguing a little bit.
Slayazar.
Too close to the original.
Slayazar, isn't it, Sarazar?
It's too close to the original.
Right.
So if
damn it, you put a lot on me just now. Sarah's the Why would you ask me this? Why would you ask me? Right, I'm going to look up.
His drag name is BBL.
And
BBL.
if anybody asks you what it stands for, tell them that they do not have the authorization to know.
Exactly. No. Okay.
The ones that know.
Yeah, if you have to ask, you are not tall enough to ride this ride.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Sarza is just sitting there like, right, okay, well, this is done now.
Don't be homophobic, Sarza.
I'm not being homophobic. He stands up in his 6-inch stilettos that you guys have put on him for this look. Right, off we go. And he sachets away.
He's nearly 7 foot tall if he's in 6-inch heels.
Yeah.
I'll be needing those back when you're done, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. He's gonna get a disadvantage to his dexterity as long as he's wearing these, because he's not Loran and cannot slay in heels.
How does Loran feel seeing Sarza so slay?
He feels inferior. No. He's like I became a tiefling, and you guys are looking at him. Devastating.
Yeah, you look nice. I like the horns.
Yeah, the whole idea is to be stealthy, and that is exactly what we are doing.
I don't know how stealthy we can be in 6-inch heels with a tiefling looking this good. But you guys look fine. He points to the rest of you. So, let us go on.
Rude. So rude. You're not going to get to touch my fuzzy nose now.
What if I said instead that you looked whimsical and lovely?
I step on his foot.
He reaches for your nose. Like a cat, he goes like that.
Non-consensual nose touching.
I don't know about Sparks, but Astra would offer a high five for blending in.
Huzzah! Right,
Huzzah.
so you guys have got your disguises on, and you can start heading out into the city itself. You guys have had experience with the Thieves Guild before, so as you walk through the sort of lamp-lit streets, the dark shadows kind of clinging to the corners of each of the buildings, sellers are closing up shop for the evening except for the late-night markets, which stay open in one area of the city, but you skirt around those because they draw far too much attention and too many tourists, and with the amount of people coming into the cities, they are just far too bustling, and whilst you know it is easy to get lost in a crowd, you also get the impression that people may be looking for you where people are. And so sticking to the side streets, sticking to the back alleys, you make your way down, away from this lovely tavern near the docks, away from the bazaar, which hosts fine wares and the more rich areas of marketeers, what do you call them? Merchants, marketeers of the city. And towards, on the sort of like western side of the mining sprawl, towards a slightly more rundown area of the city. Here, you notice a lot of the people who have been coming in from outside have been put up in temporary housing, which hasn't really been put together with the best craftsmanship. Not unlike a slum, the sort of city with its beautiful buildings somewhat immediately turns into this kind of more derelict living situation. So in between what were once really nicely presented townhouses, you get these just rickety kind of shacks and makeshift buildings. And there is an entrance to one of these, which Loran and Sarahza lead you through, which takes you into a veritable maze of buildings like this. Lily, you'll have to remind me of the name of this episode. But do you remember there was an episode of Junji Ito where
I was literally thinking it's the Town Without Maps.
The Town Without Maps. It looks a lot like that. If you guys,
I was literally thinking of that. That's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna find
I will
it.
send you guys a picture of that.
And it's essentially, well, at least it feels like everyone is living on top of each other here. And as you walk
Sorry,
through...
it's been translated as the town without streets into English.
Yeah. And as you walk through, you notice there are inhabitants here. People who, like yourselves, are cloaked up and trying not to be seen. You hear the kind of lively music and shouting from bars that have been sprung up, obviously illegally, with a moment's notice. And amongst all of these, you see... Hang on a moment. Okay, so I'm just changing the music for my own. So, amongst all of these...
I've sent photos to the chat.
Amazing. Amongst all of these, you see people lining the streets outside each establishment, holding little lanterns to light the way. And a few of them kind of like, as they see you moving through without quite a direction in mind, approach you all quickly. And the one of them comes up. It is a tall, like slightly rough, but like handsome-ish young man with long, kind of dark hair and a cloak which conceals what he's wearing underneath, but it's short, so you can see that he's got like a nice pair of trousers on, a nice pair of well-polished shoes. And he approaches you and he says, "Strangers, looking a little lost. How about a drink? Come in here. We've got some good prices going on. And, well, if you're looking for something other than alcohol, we got that too."
Insight check.
Okay.
I would, yes, please.
Yes, same.
Everyone who wants to do it.
Does this man indeed seem part of the establishment that we're right next to?
17.
17.
10.
10.
26. I'm getting
Okay, cool.
better with the nines.
Very good. Anna, does this man seem like he is attached to the business he's standing in front of? Yes. He is standing in the doorway, and the doorway, if you peek through, has like a direct line of view from the bar, which is kind of like partially covered by a curtain. So it's yes, but other than that, you can't really gain any information about his intentions. Ulster, he is looking at you with interest. Furbolgs are very uncommon. And you're a very pretty furbolg. And in fact, the way he's looking at you makes you feel like you're about to be gobbled up like a steak.
I will go behind Loran.
Excuse me, you're not Sparks, you're Bluey. That's Bluey. Yeah. That's Celia. This guy is... Have you ever been to Kabukicho? Okay, maybe no, that's in so outside of like some like more dicey establishments in Japan, they have people who try and like scout people in from the streets. This seems to be one of those individuals. He is clearly made up, like wearing nice clothes, handsome, like he's got a little bit of a charisma, but you can kind of see that he is looking over all of you like you've got price tags attached to you. Like he's assessing which ones of you are worth bringing into his establishment and which ones aren't. You notice his eyes kind of linger on not so much the humans. Humans are a dime a dozen here. But Ulster, definitely. Loran, certainly. with their more unusual disguises. Sarasa,
What about BBL?
Sarasa is looking up, and he's like, he's like, oh my. But anyway, that's a joke.
Does
I'm like,
does it seem like this would be helpful to us in finding what we're looking for here, or should we move on?
so you were the one who suggested coming to this area. What is it you were looking for? What are you trying to glean from this investigation?
Mention of finding Psy, wasn't there?
Yeah. So, with that in mind,
Dead, essentially.
Yep. So you're probably looking for a couple of things then in mind. Probably looking for one of your contacts, would be Sai. Clara, is a bit of a... Unless you have a way to message her. Sparks, the last time you saw her, she was in prison. Prison underground. You don't know if she made it out, like you made it out, or if she's still there. If she's still there, she's 100% gonzo. But so you're probably looking for one of them. You would also probably be looking for the kinds of people who would be working on the black market, selling things, acquiring items and things. So actually, you get the impression talking to anyone who looks on the seedier side is probably best for getting what you want out of this. You probably would also notice Loran is looking at each shop with a specific intent. Whilst he is aware of this guy and keeping his eyes on him, you get the impression he's kind of like reading all the signs, trying to assess what's going on in each shop, as if he's looking for something. So that's the information you would get. Things you would need to know.
On a scale of even on a sunny day, this guy would be putting off, would just be all shade. Or,
He is probably about as shady as Sai is. So I'd say 70% shade, 30% chances of sun. Overcast.
I think Slia in will kind of just clock Loran and just be like, what do you think? Is this a business that could that's interesting to us?
Wait, Aylin, would you mind repeating that?
Yeah. What do you think? This is directed to Loran.
Loran, okay.
Musk, is this an establishment relevant to us?
That's a nice voice. I think that hearing you put on a voice, Loran would go, oh, I don't know, but I suppose we could all learn a little something about this place if we wanted to. We could explore. We are new to this area, after all. Do you like my voice? This is good. Is it weird? Should I stop? Okay, slow. Also, what were you going to say?
I forgot.
Oh. Loran looks at you all stare, having shielded behind him, and just kind of reaches for your hand and squeezes it and says, don't you worry. I'll protect you.
Yeah, also looks like he's taking it very literally. It's like, he wants to eat me.
I think the man at this point laughs and goes, No. Not here to eat you. Invite you in for a bite to eat. Obviously.
Not tasty.
He gives you a wink. Well, how about this? I can I'll give you guys the special menu, and you can see whether you're interested in coming in. What do you think?
That sounds good.
Okay. Though it's quite intense. I'm not sure if you're all ready for it.
It's like, is it a high spice level or something?
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that.
Insight check.
I can handle spice.
You can handle spice? he's eyeing you up like, interesting.
18.
Okay.
Yes, Derek Johnson.
18 on that.
Okay, 18 on the insight. He is holding in his arm a like menu, sort of like a piece of like parchment pressed between two like fine wooden boards, which upon closer inspection seem to bear the same kind of like branding as this shop, though it's like obviously very, very ramshackle and not particularly like elevated design. And he opens it and he flips through pieces of paper and picks out one. And you get a glimpse at some of the other menus, and you understand very quickly that this man is attempting to eye up what you guys would want from the establishment and is giving you a menu suited to what you're looking for. Whether or not this shop actually provides or sells all of the things on those lists or has ulterior motives for getting more people in, you do not know.
What kind of things are on the lists?
Okay, so you can catch a very quick glimpse. The first list seems to be the insatiable course. And it's very quick glance, but you get the impression it's different types of blood on that list.
Okay, not at all what I was thinking. Okay.
Then the other menu, which also I think you'd be particularly interested in, is the ropes course, which is exactly what you would expect.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. But he sees the way you two are looking at each other and is like, that's not going to go down well. And he passes you guys instead what appears to be a dining menu. Except some of the food on offer has very creative names, which are probably just, for fun and not what actually are in the dishes. Like deep fried pixie wings, claw of griffin.
I'm sorry, I need to go to the door.
That's okay. Are you alright? Hang on. Okay. Can we just pause 1 second? Fab. Okay. So, looking at this menu, it's a menu of different food that is very much not legal, at least in the rest of the city. So he seems to have sussed you out to be looking not for people. People come here for various reasons. You get the impression, also from the list that you've seen, and without much of a kind of like understanding of what you could be looking for from him, but wanting to entice you, he's given you this one, and he says, "But of course, there are other things I can set you up with if it's not quite your taste. How about you pop in and have a look?"
I think we could at least sate our curiosity.
And Loran goes, "But of course, we should go inside."
He's changed accents again.
The guy looks at him like, huh. Maybe I pegged you wrong, and starts flicking through his lists. Like, not sure.
I have climbed halfway up Loran's back. I'm scared.
Okay. How tall are you as a furbolg?
Furbolgs are quite tall. Well, can you change my height with the disguise?
Within a foot, I think, is the limit of these things usually.
Is that correct, Slayer?
For the height? It should be. The only exception that I'm aware of is furbolgs themselves have a disguised self where you can change it within 2 feet.
Mm-hmm. But you're not an actual furbolg. You're
Indeed, we're all disguised.
Yeah, so I would say within a foot is okay. If you want to be a foot taller or a foot shorter.
I think I'm 6 foot then.
Oh wow, Loran's like by an inch, 1 inch. He loves it. But you climb up him, and if you are willing to, he leads you into this.
I probably still weigh the same, so like a 6 foot tall furbolg weighs the same as Ulster.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just a disguise. So bringing you inside, you see that there are very narrow benches sort of lined up throughout this whole place. The walls are tapestries, very heavy tapestries that are kind of like tethered together by rope or like canvas ribbons, and they go from the excuse me, I can't really speak. The ceiling all the way down to the floor, and the ceiling and the floors are both made of wood. So it gives the impression of a semi-permanent structure or a tent inside. There is a thick smog that hangs over the air as people are allowed to smoke and partake in whatever substances they want to in here, it seems. And there is at the very back a tall bar which has canisters, not glass jars or bottles, canisters that you can't see into, sort of lined up where liquor bottles would be usually. Behind the bar, there is a large orc individual with a kind of violet and green speckled skin, almost like a frog. And they are wearing a very like tight short sleeve black shirt that shows off all their muscles. They have
and a frilly skirt,
a cute little coarse little maid apron. They've got a cute little maid apron and a very rusty looking kind of sword on their waist. It's a short sword, but it's obviously there for reasons. Your server says, and my name, in case any of you wish to call upon me again, is Deman.
Deman.
The man.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So in case we need to demand.
I'm going to leave you with this one. But of course, if you're interested in sampling something that's not on the menu, you call me over and I'll arrange it for you, okay? And he sets you down at a table. The entrance, kind of where you came in through, there's like a curtain that's like pulled aside and tied off, so you can't see into the rest of the like kind of like the corridor, the walkway that you came from anymore. There are about 12 other individuals here, and one of them is a dining party of about 6. Everyone else is sitting by themselves. The dining party of 6 are some really gnarly looking humans, with quite like sort of sea roughened skin and arms. You get a very awful flashback to the Salt and Plank with the pirates that tried to attack you guys. But they are different people. And you hear a sort of yell of raucous laughter and jeering as a server brings out a dish. So, the dish at first seems to be a hog roast, like on a spit. Except as it turns around, you see there's like movement from inside the stomach, and one of the like sailors grabs a carving knife from the table, and as the hog roast kind of spit turns, they stab into it and like cut it aside. And inside you see a sort of like some tiny pixies.
Absolutely not. I am going over to intervene.
Okay.
Are they alive?
They have the appearance of being alive.
Can I insight check? Can I perception check the pixies?
Yeah.
That is 23.
23. Okay. There are 4 pixies. Most of them are seemingly magically reanimated, so they are dead. And one of them seems to show signs of life, like being alive.
I'm going to save that pixie.
You're going to go save that pixie. You hear like a as one of the sort of like men grabs it and like kind of pulls it and like
no. I would like to
no.
I would like to throw myself on the table to hopefully stop them from eating.
Okay, you throw yourself onto this man. Make a grapple check, please. So you're going to do.
That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Is it? What is a grapple? Is
yours is? Oh God, it's been a while since we've played D&D. Hang on a sec. Let me just check.
I have it. It's athletics versus either acrobatics or athletics.
That's it.
Can I use acrobatics?
You can only use athletics.
Damn it. Okay, it's 16 then.
16. Okay. You throw yourself on him and bounce off. But I will say, even though he rolled higher than you, it is enough to catch his attention. And you look away instinctively as you hear crunching sounds from the other members of the people at the table. But you notice this guy has not bitten into this living pixie yet, and they are looking at you like with a fearful expression. They are covered in blood guts and a little bit of sage and seasoning.
No, can I look at this guy who's hopefully really shocked?
He does look surprised. But he like looks down at you and is like, what the fuck was that? I try to eat my food.
Can I try and risen him up and just slide my fingers between his to open them to try and get the pixie?
Okay, perform.
Okay. I like reach over, just hold his hands. Can I roll a charisma check?
You have to say something. Holding his hands on.
I just feel like someone of your status should be eating something far nicer than this.
I'd lean down to Joy and I say, I didn't know we'd be, part of the entertainment here. I thought it'd be the other way around.
Who are you saying that to?
Sleer disguised as Joy.
Joy. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I would like to roll a perception check because I am clocking everything else in the room.
Okay.
Except for what's going on with like the. Slay's like, oh, perfect, a distraction. I'm gonna look and be doing.
Very good. Okay, so we're just gonna quickly deal with this, and then we'll do that.
Cool.
So, Ulster, as you roll a charisma check for me.
18 plus. Hold on. Is it just flat charisma?
Yep.
Can I not make it persuasion?
Persuasion?
So I'm persuading him.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that makes it 21.
21. Got something really kinky in mind, do you, eh? He like, mate, I have the perfect pixie.
Right. Ulster kind of folds this guy's fingers away from the pixie. And once the pixie is free, I'm going to cast invisibility on it.
Okay, you kind of make the sort of like gestures to do that. And demand.
I just need to touch it.
Okay, you kind of touch it and it goes whoosh. And as you cast the spell, you hear a little chime going off and your ears start ringing. And Daman comes over to you and just says, you're a first timer, so I'll tell you kindly. Magic isn't really appreciated in here. We don't want anyone's privacy to be expunged to the outside world, if you get me. Though, judging from what you two are looking at each other like, I see that I offered you the wrong menu, sir. Why don't you two follow me? and we'll get you in the right spot.
I would
the
like
guy
to
at the
look at the
table is
table.
like standing up. Loran is like, wait, I will join. And the guy is like, no, not on that one. And Loran just, his jaw drops to the floor and is like,
No.
He's a thing for the fuzzy ones. Ulster. I mean, Furbolg friend, whose name I can't remember.
I think it's Periwinkle, isn't it?
Periwinkle?
Yeah, I think it was Periwinkle.
He's giving you a look like, what are you doing?
The pixie is now free, so it all says like, well, oh wow, the vapors, and just puts his head down on the table.
Okay.
Nice.
At which point, Damon is like, nah, we don't do this here. We do this. Different establishment. They're all connected. I'm sure you get it. Come along. And as you feel like an arm come underneath your arms, and the other guy like kind of sling you over his shoulder, and being propped up by the two guys, you are being pulled away to a sort of slip in the tapestries. And Loran looks over at Sarazar and just says, offer. Maybe you're his type if I'm not. And Sarazar goes, I will go with you as well. And there's a beat of silence. Damon looks back. The pixie-eating monster looks back. Yeah. And jerks his head. And you get the impression that you guys are being separated from the rest of the party. But before that fully transpires, Celia, you are looking around the establishment, and you notice this sort of like slip in the tapestry, where in similar fashions to Damon, where holding similar kind of like menus under their arms, you see these kind of fishermen, I'm going to call them like fishers. What are they called? Scouts? Scalpers? Enticers? Them guys on the streets are walking through and whispering to one another. And it clicks in your mind. Different establishments, all connected, different menus, all offered by the same people. All of these establishments are run by the same people. Everything here is connected. So you go to one place, you have access to basically any place, any door, depending on whether or not you ask for the right services. So you started off here, horrible cannibal place. Moving on, you see Sarazar and Ulster being ushered through the tapestry to what appears to be the adjacent establishment. And you guys can stay here. There are other exits which seem to go into the kitchen, which seem to go back out into the street. You can decide how you want to proceed.
Derek Musk, do you think that maybe we might change establishments as well?
Great idea. Should we go for... He flips through the menus. We're trying to find Sai. Right? Yeah. He flips through. And then he pulls out a piece of paper, which seems to be another menu. Though menu doesn't really fit this one. Menu would suggest there are things that you could purchase, like food, drink, other entertainment. There does appear to be also a brochure, for lack of a better word, for sites in this heart of the city. One of which seems to be a how can I say this? Temple aligned to a specific religious organization, which you may believe Sai to be adjoined to. It has a sort of like dark and more fiery insignia. You remember sort of Cass mentioning that he had more religious connotations than thievery connotations. Them having the same, not patron, because you guys don't know that much about Cass yet, but background and relationship with the dark arts. And Loran says, look, if we're going to find something, we may find it here. I want you to also know, I'm specifically on the lookout for dark wizards who might be able to help us.
Wait, would I know? Do I know who you're talking about?
I don't know. I'm looking. Having lived in the city a while, I have been here before, and I have heard that there is someone who runs a teleportation circle down here. Illegal teleportation circle, basically meaning that it doesn't necessarily need to have an adjoining one on the other end. It could take you where you need to go for a steep fee and incredible risk.
I think just because I'm curious, I think I will say, demand. Sorry. When you say no spell casting, like, sorry, no magic in here. Do you mean like spell casting?
He kind of passes Ulster over to Saraza, and like kind of pushes them through the tapestry and starts like sealing it shut behind.
Oh.
And turns, and you sort of notice Loran like clench his teeth. But the man is looking at you and answers your question, Sparks. He says, yeah, well, one of the rules here, we are more than happy to direct you to whatever God's damned thing you want down here. If we can offer it, we'll do our best to give it to you. Obviously, that's a bit risky, innit? So, on the flip side of that, we only ask you be respectful. Respectful to us, respectful to your fellow customers, respectful to, say, our pockets. If we've done a good job for you, we've done something nice for you, you can do something nice for us, you know? Spellcasting and all that, whilst it's all right in the streets, once you come through these doors, that's a big no. So, yeah. Obviously, I understand some people can't help this shit, right? I had a tiefling. I stepped on their tail. They tried to burn my face off. It was an accident. It was instinct. What am I going to say? Fuck you. You're banned. To someone with coffers that big? Absolutely not. In the same vein, you, sir, being a human, I've got nothing to worry about, but say were you a dragonborn and I stepped on your tail and you tried to blow my face off, I would accept a firm apology, a little healing, and then some money, and we'd all be fine. You get me?
I get you. Thank you.
Yeah. That being said, there are obviously rules. If you break them, then we break you. Spellcastings, I know. If you want to move between establishments, you've got to tell one of us. You'll be able to recognise us by the cloaks, the menus. Other than that, I don't really know everyone else who works here, but they all know me. And vice versa, I think. Wait, that would make sense. Yeah, no. I don't know everyone else who works here. I don't really care to know them. I just know I get paid. Okay? If you want something, I'll lead you to the next room, pass you off, and so on and so on and so on. Okay?
Alright.
It's just safety. Yeah. When you're with us, you can guarantee you're going to be looked after. And you by yourself. That's why I took pity on you guys out there. If you walk around completely unattended. Even your friends now, they've gone through there, yeah? Well, I'll pass them off to someone else. not my problem anymore, but you guys still are. Speaking of which, I am going to expect a bit of a payment for that stunt your friend pulled trying to rizz up that guy. If pixies are hard to come by.
What is a respectable amount of payment?
$5 gold. About the
have
cost of a
money.
pixie life, I'd say.
I have 0 money. I'm very sorry, Loran.
Does anyone have money? Loran looks over at you. Does anyone have money?
Astra will put 6 gold in his hand.
Nice. I knew I could count on you, Queen. He passes it over. Done and done. Now, I don't know about you, but I want what they're having. Any points at the tapestry? Shall we move on?
Yeah, right. Emma, I would like to ask, can I glean at all from that conversation that magic that doesn't come from spells isn't detectable necessarily? Like a divine sense
or a channel
divine. That would probably be okay.
Okay, all right. I think once we're have we asked to be directed to where Ulster?
Loran. Yeah.
All right.
So Loran has suggested a couple options. One is a shady-looking church temple that you believe Sai might have affiliations with based off of his demeanor, aesthetics, and various holy symbols he wears. The other thing that he seems to be looking for is an illegal teleportation circle run by a dark wizard. So he says.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Look, I'm being drawn to temple. I want to see what this is.
Okay.
Say, Joy is also being drawn towards the temple and would probably lean over to like Musk and just be like, we might be able to find both of what we're looking for at a place where there may be magic.
But of course, let's go.
Accent again.
My brain, Terry Tempest Team Tornado.
Terry, but of course, let's go. I can't remember I can't do his accent anymore. I really can't. I try. But even Ender Oshun, because I did his accent initially the same time I was playing Terry, and then he was gone for so long, and I couldn't play Terry anymore. I lost how to do. Hello, friends. See, I can't really get there anymore. Hello, friends. My name is Terry Tempest, Teen Tornado. It's just I've lost it. I've lost the magic of it a little bit, but he's still there in my heart and soul. Musk kind of testing out his new accent goes, "Jammin, come over here. We need to have a chat. We want to go to this place," and slaps the brochure down on the table. And I also want to put down this much cash, and he brings out like 50 gold. That furbolg you just brought through there, he is valuable to me, if you get my drift. And I would very much appreciate if you took good care that he doesn't get gangbanged while I'm not around. If you catch my drift, I'm trying to be subtle about this, but it really feels like you've sent him off for that. Can you clarify at all what is about to happen? And if you can, and ensure that he is going to be safe and not touched by anyone, I can give you this massive amount of gold. And Damon says, "Oh, I'm sorry, mate. None of my business now. I've gone through that. I can have that gold, though. Like, you want to do something real freaky? You want to eat some weird shit? Like, we can get you 50 gold's worth of weird shit to eat. I can even," he starts like picking his face. "I can even, like, I don't know, like, we could put some sushi on a body for you. You get some like sweat and put in a glass. I could
look.
feed you one of them. And he points like to any of any of the patrons in the room. Like we can butcher him up, make some steak. Be about 50 gold. What's you feeling? Lauren slowly puts the gold back in his bag. No.
If you're fucking feeling the hots for periwinkle, just go in there. It's a bit obvious, man. Come on, like. I'm so sorry, everybody.
I think Lauren gives you a look like. I'm just gonna have a look. I'm just gonna see what they're doing. You know, you
seem intent on like protecting him and stuff. I think I'll offer a wink to Lorand, referring to the +2 AC that they get.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
More days.
Very smart. Lorand actually will pass you guys the 50 gold and say, use this to buy your way through until you can get where you need to be. This is your location. And he puts the brochure down. Awesome. And I will meet you there. Post haste. Okay.
Not pre-haste. I don't know what that means.
He casts haste on you. No. He doesn't do that because you don't want to get some exhaustion. What?
Very good. Sorry, Lorraine.
That's all good. Damon escorts Lorraine through the tapestry and comes back a moment later for you two and says, right, you want to go here? I'll pass you on to someone who can take you there. And he leads you to the street and you guys carry on walking, following him down the road. Quick cut back. Ulster.
Yeah.
You're pushed through this tapestry and confronted with what looks no less than a... Right, you ever seen Saw?
Yeah.
Remember the bathroom in the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of brought into this room with these like kind of smaller rooms on all sides. All of them have these like white bleached tiles, like a tub, and like various hooks and bolts on the walls, and ropes everywhere. There seems to be the ropes course. Harnesses.
I jump into Cyrus's arms.
Ropes, harnesses, the works, and you're passed off to a...
No, I'm clinging to Sarasa.
You're clinging to Sarasa.
I'm not passed off to anyone.
The tapestry is closed behind you, and you're approached by a pale, sort of sallow-skinned individual who is completely bound in like metal, like rings, like all up their body. Like you can see where they're like cutting into their arms, but they have a cloak and a menu. And you can only see this part of their face.
Head?
No, you can only see this part of their face. The rest of it is completely covered with these like kind of like metal constricting pieces. And there's like pins on the top side of their lips, like this, to keep the lip up. To keep the lip up. It is very Hellraiser, and they smile and they say, "Ropes course."
Oh. Wow. Also starts hyperventilating.
Sarah's like, oh my god, and he's like, you can't, like cowering into his shoulder, and the guy's like, yeah, I reckon. How hard you thinking? Like, pretty hard. Pretty intense. Wow, I reckon we want an intensive course.
Oh my god.
Can you though, like, he looks through to the open doors. I was kind of expecting like one of the double surgical beds.
What?
What's going on?
No! Also tries to leave. He tries to scramble back.
The person says, "It's completely normal to be terrified of this on your first experience. I think you'll find it, though, rather impressive.
I want to look at Saraza.
Saraza looks around. Right. Okay. And he puts you down for a second. He goes up to this person. And he leans in and whispers something in their ear. And they... Oh. Let me see what I can do. And this individual takes Saraza's hand, takes this other man, and leads them into one of the rooms. And he looks back at you and he's like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Oh, wait, what? Saraza, is he okay? What's going to happen to him?
And the door closes. And Ulsteg, you're by yourself for a moment. Is there anything you want to do in this brief instance?
Cry.
He starts sobbing, and immediately you feel like arms on you behind you as Loran like comes in and just like grabs you and is like, "What the fuck is happening?"
I don't know.
And also you're like looking on with dread at the door Saraza went through. And a moment passes, and another moment passes, and Saraza comes out again and closes the door behind, and he's holding something in his arms, and he just stops on the door and he goes, right. And you turn around. He turns around, sorry, and you see that he is holding a cloak and a menu.
What did you do?
We don't talk. We run. Run very fast. And he has also got the key to this room in his hand, and he's like locking the door and like testing it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Good job, Saraza.
Shit.
Okay.
Oh my god.
As he comes closer, you see he's got like a welt on the side of his face where he's clearly been whacked by something. And you look, when he passes the menu over to you, Ulster, you look on the back and there's just like a smear of blood where very obviously Saraza has been hit by this thing. And he's like, we're going fast. We're going very fast. And
before we go, I would like to heal Saraza.
Okay, you put your hand on Saraza's face.
I cast Healing Word on him.
He sighs with this kind of like cooling motion. And he puts the cloak on you, Ulster, ties it tightly, pulls down the hood, and says, are you in control of the transformation? Can you drop it, or are you stuck like this?
I think, Aelin, can I control it, or does it last just as long as you make it last?
I think that it's a one and done kind of thing.
That's fine.
If you
so then
drop it, it would I think be up to Loran, but I could be mistaken.
No, it is kind of one and done, I think. So Saraza says, all right. And he takes the scarf that he was using to hide his face and just wraps it around yours and tightens it. I should be fine. I should be fine. When they eventually wake up, maybe they'll just start having sex rather than realizing anything's wrong. Come on.
Oh. Okay.
And Loran looks at Saraza with like a horrified expression, but follows you guys. And you look around this room, Ulster, and you notice there are plenty of doors. Most of them are closed, but nothing quite like the tapestry wall which led you into here. So you need to pick a door and go through it in hopes to lead you to the next location. What are you going to do?
I think we should liberate all the pixies.
Loran and Saraza look at each other, and Saraza says, Ulster, I just chock-a-blocked, knocked out those two guys to get us out of here. I don't feel like going into the kitchens where we will maybe be recognised.
But the pixies are going to be eaten horribly while still alive.
Ulster, even if you liberate the pixies here at the moment, you want to go through the kitchens? I think you're going to see some awful things in there.
Maybe I can liberate some other things in the kitchens.
You might be liberating the contents of your guts if you go through there.
Oh.
Make a persuasion check, please.
13 plus 3 is 16.
Okay. He nods and says, right. We will do a brief detour. We will liberate whatever we can find within the next 10 minutes, and then we will go and find the others, okay? Because genuinely, I don't think they're each other's types. And they were both rather strong.
Okay. Does that mean you were both of their types?
Probably. Look, I said I wanted to check out the room with them. Let's just say I checked them out of this reality, but not for long. So we need to go quickly. And we need to go now.
I feel like the guy with the pins in his lips was probably into it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that is the case. But if they cause a stir and we're still here talking like we are now, then we will be stirred into stew.
Okay, let's go to get the pixies then.
Okay, so very reluctantly, Saraza and Loran walk deeper into this kind of like room, and you can kind of make an investigation check to see where you think might be the entrance to these kitchens.
Can I have assistance from Loran because he's smart?
You may.
Yeah, can Loran roll, please?
Yep. Okay, 17 on the dice.
That's much better. I rolled a 3.
Oh, baby. Plus 7. 24. He
Nice.
kind of like looks around and just says, that one. And leans forward. And you notice this room has a sort of faint aroma, and not of rust and blood and metal and other things, but instead of cooking. And Lauren just says, I don't know what to expect on the other side. I never ever came to this end of this place. And
You've been here before?
There's a different end. Black market! Don't... Oh my god. There are some ingredients. It's hard to find. Right, it doesn't matter. And he opens the door. And we'll quickly cut back to... Oh wait. We should probably wrap there. I'll just say very quickly, we cut back to Sparks and Bluey as Damon leads you through the streets. And following him, you both feel a prickle on the back of your necks as if you're being watched. And I think with your higher passive perception, Sleer, you kind of peek over your shoulder, and you notice from a back alley a figure kind of disappearing between the buildings, the sort of flash of their cloak and their boots, and a glimmer of gold, kind of their eyes. And you recognize, in the very brief instance you see them, Sai disappearing into the shadows. He knows you're there. You get the impression that word of newcomers travels fast around this place. And whether or not he knows it's you, whether or not he doesn't know it's you, it's hard to say at this point, but he's clocked you at the very least.
He clocked, yeah.
He clocked you. You guys pass a few different establishments. One seems to be a very hot-looking, steam-ridden sauna, which you definitely feel like is not going to be sanitary. There are a fair few market stalls the deeper in you go, which seem to be selling different cursed items robbed from graves, some suspicious-looking meats wrapped up in paper, and so on and so on. And eventually this narrow walkway widens into almost like a town square. This is the only area that you've seen so far that's open up to the sky. And you see that this part of the town, which seems to have another entrance which is accessible by, is filled with residential homes, all of which are completely closed up, shut off, no lights, no signs of life, no fires, nothing. You get the impression that this is a sleep during the day, come out at night kind of spot. If you want to stay alive, you can't be asleep whilst it's dark. And as such, nobody really is coming out, or at least making themselves known to be around. And at the far end of the square, you notice, not dissimilar to the what's it called? The name of the place. The vault of something. Not the bank. Oh, for fuck's sake, I can't remember what it's called. There's like a building that you guys have gone into a bunch of times. Hang on a sec.
If you want to take
the Keep of Words.
Right.
Not dissimilar to that, but on a much smaller scale and a bit more derelict.
The library.
The library. And it seems to be a government building that was just sort of caught in the middle of this whole sudden upspring of illegal activity. It's fell into disrepair and has now been repurposed, hung with various holy symbols as a holy place. Though it looks a little sinister for your liking. And Damon says, yeah, I ain't no cleric, so I'm going to pass you off to my friend over there. Good luck.
Thank you.
Not many gods answer their prayers around here.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
And,
just maybe not the ones you're hoping for.
It's true, he yawns. Alright, bye. And he,
Thanks,
what are we going to say, Sparks?
Oh, thanks, man.
You can thank me with coin if you like. No?
Full coin? I don't know.
4 coin. He's like, oh, I'll take 4.
From Slia. Wait, hang on. Actually, did
Loran gave us coin for?
He gave you some 50 gold.
He'll be annoyed if you spend it on random shit though.
I can say with the higher carrying capacity, I'm happy to carry the bag of coin and then go. Yeah. Thanks very much, man.
That's all right. No worries. You see him move his hand in a strange way. Slia, can you please roll me a perception check?
That is a 17 plus 4, 21.
He takes the 4 coins from Sparks, but as you put the bag away and he moves his hand and holding up 4 coins, you realise he's taken an extra 3 subtly.
I'm sorry, I don't think we gave you a tip. I'll be taking that back.
What? What are you on about?
Open your hand, darling.
No.
Also, Slia's been just very just like perfectly smiling. Just
okay.
The
open my hand. But you did give me a tip. 7 coins here. You must have forgotten.
7 doesn't sound like 4.
That's a good point. You're so right. Let me have a think. 7 doesn't sound like 4, but maybe I'm mistaken. And he calls out, "Oi, guys, 7 sound like 4 to you?" And you see from the shadows a few different bodies move away from their establishments, all wearing those cloaks, just watching you.
Joy, are you still feeling joyous, or?
I'm thinking that perhaps Duban has offered to share his tip with his friends.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Shall I get him close in case we need to count out the coins? Or
no,
do you want me to go to them?
I think we'll leave things as they are.
Great. You guys have been lovely.
Can I make
absolutely scrumptious?
Can I make a sleight of hand to potentially steal something from Damon in this case?
Okay. Okay.
God.
You can try, yeah.
Do I need to roll like a stealth check as well?
You roll a sleight of hand.
Okay.
It will be at disadvantage because you've got a lot of eyes on you at the moment, but you can certainly try to do so.
I'm not sure I can do anything.
The disadvantaged roll is an 18.
Okay. What are you trying to grab? What kind of thing?
Like legitimately anything she can just kind of like casually sneak off of him that won't be noticed. Okay. Like it could be a literal thread off his cloak or something, you know.
Okay, what about one of the hairs on his head? Seems to have clung to the back of his outfit.
Oh.
You're just tidying it up.
I have the worst idea.
Go on, tell me. Oh my god, you want to steal his undies? That's going to be really hard.
No, just like tucking his tag back in his shirt kind of vibe.
Okay. You tuck the tag into his shirt, and he whips around and is like, "Oi! Seriously, no touching though. We can play games. We can have fun here. But you keep your hands off me."
Just want to make sure you always look your best.
You got that weirdness about you, like them sisterhood girls. Fucking hell. Alright. And he waves his hand and walks away.
We're nothing like the sisterhood, right? At least I like to hope so. I say that loudly enough so people like hear us. I don't know.
I don't
Fair enough.
I think they have an interesting reputation. And
okay.
Bluey knows enough about Sleia to know that she's talking out her ass. Like,
yeah, of course.
She's lying, but she's making it sound real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever. Look, we're here for the temple.
Okay. And you guys turn and you can see the temple is exactly where you would expect it to be. You are being watched, but for now, other than losing 3 gold, you've not lost too much of value. And you have a hair from his head, or a tag from his clothes, whatever you would prefer. Loran, Ulster, Saraza, as you guys make your way through the door to the kitchens, you are confronted with, first of all, before kitchens, before anything, you get the plating area, which is basically just a bunch of trays with metal plates on them, and just a couple guys in a line slopping stuff onto them. You see incredibly unseemly things. Luckily, most of the food is relatively normal. There are genuine eateries here. Just really, the quality is low. But towards the ends, you see the more unusual offerings, upsetting offerings. And you kind of head in that direction when you feel Ulster a whisper in your ear. Thank you! Thank you so much for saving me! It's the pixie, who is no longer invisible after this amount of time, but is sort of like lands on your shoulder. Oh, I kept my distance, just because I thought you were going to do some weird sex stuff, but you saved me!
Oh. Ulster's like, you better hide in my cloak.
Oh, yeah, okay. And they kind of like sit on your neck and they're like, where are you going?
I'm gonna try and help anyone else who's stuck in the kitchen.
I can help you find them.
Okay, how many do you think there are?
47.
Oh, wow. Yes, okay, we're going to help your friends.
Okay, that's alright. They're all kept in the same cage, pressed real close together. Most of them are still alive, I think.
Oh. Ulster looks at Loran and Sarazo with big watery eyes.
They nod. Alright. But be careful.
Going to help them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Help
good.
him. Yeah. And Loran's like, yes. Yes, we are. And the pixie says, but be careful. Chef comes every 5 minutes or so to pick a new one.
Okay. Is there any obvious way that we can pick our way through the kitchen?
There is a line of servers who come and they just kind of pick up the plates, clear them off. They're gone for about a minute. Then they return, pick up the plates, clear them off. Nobody's really looking at you just now. Again, most of these people are wearing the cloaks and holding the menus. They seems to be just like an access all areas kind of uniform in this place. None of them are really looking at or acknowledging each other. You get the impression that they are just looking out for themselves. They don't really care as much for the people from the other establishments. And they do split off to different doors. They don't all go back to the one you came through.
Okay. I'm gonna look at both Loran and Saraza. Do either of you have the ability to turn invisible or turn other people invisible? Because I already used my invisibles.
Loran does. He says, alright, but it can only be you.
Okay.
So Loran just says, we don't really have time for me to fuss, do we?
No.
Great.
Not leaving 47 pixies to be eaten alive.
No, we're not. Okay. And he gives you a kiss and then taps your forehead and you feel like this kind of cold sensation rush over you. And he says, go very fast.
Okay. I will try and go very fast.
Okay. You have about a minute to rush through this area. I'm going to need you to make me a dexterity check to see how well you can evade the different servers who come in and out in this time.
Okay. Let me just check my dex. Do, 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 do. 13.
Okay. With a 13, you manage to narrowly evade left, right, under, down, all of the different people who are coming through here. But at the very last hurdle, you bash right into one of them as he turns around, spilling the sort of cold, lukewarm stew that he's carrying all over him, and a little bit of it gets on your front. You've made it almost all the way to where the pixie says the pixies are being kept hostage. And you look down, you see a speckle has just landed on your front, and the guy in front of you is looking down and is like,
I turn around so he sees my back.
oh. He looks, and then just you see him as if he's about to swipe his hand through the air. Make me a dexterity saving throw. He swipes.
Okay, 19.
19. You go, and you feel the hair on your head just like lift up with the force of his swipe. We need another one of these. And he goes back into the kitchen proper, and you can rush past him. You do look, though, and some of the stew's gotten on your shoes, and you're leaving a very slight trail behind. Not enough that anybody would notice.
I keep my shoes off.
Fair enough.
My shoes off.
Smart. Okay. You run barefoot across these kind of tiles over to what appears to be a wet room. You can smell the blood from over here. And the pixie says, "Steal yourself, it's real not nice in there."
Okay, hide yourself, little friend, and I will try and get in.
Okay. You pull on the door, but as you pull, it is pushed open from the other side as a massive man comes through. This seems to be Chef.
Oh.
Chef reminds you a lot of a certain individual who you met many sessions ago at the very beginning of the campaign at the bottling plant. If you remember, there was a certain butcherous torturer who enjoyed cutting up and putting together all of his different test subjects in those coffins. In one of those coffins is where you recovered one of your allies. And if you remember Gondo and how you met him, Chef now has a whole lot more burns on his face than he ever had before, and is missing an arm, which he has replaced aptly with a butcher's knife, which has been shoved into this wound socket where once he had 2 hands for torturing. And he looks around and he goes, "I smell the little pixie. Guys, one of them's escaped. I can smell him from here. Close all the doors. I don't want to lose one of those. They're pretty expensive." And you hear grumbling and moans of like protestation from the servers. But as Chef requires, you hear the doors kind of like close to all the different establishments. And he turns around and goes back into the wet room and says, "Guess I'll count them again just in case I'm mistaken." And also, you can follow him inside if you like.
Okay, I will.
Mm-hmm.
Christ.
You follow him in, and this guy, even though you have made yourself much larger, is easily 1.5 foot kind of taller than you. And he stalks around the room, and you hear a sloshing underfoot, and you look down, and there is blood.
Okay.
Blood, which clings to your ankles and gives away a little bit of where you're standing. However, you look around and you can see that there are some areas where, rather than blood, there have been like kind of dried off, like washed sections of floor, clearly for servers who want to be able to walk in and out of the wet room without making customers feel weirded out by the fact they're covered in blood. Not that you think that would weird too many people out here. Specifically set aside for them. And Chef clearly doesn't give a shit. He's just walking around. Across the walls, there are different cages. Some of them are unoccupied. In fact, luckily, most of them are unoccupied. You see in here, at the far end at the back, is a baby griffin that is cowering at the back of one of its cages, with its claw kind of like held close. It only has one. If you remember, griffin claws were on the menu.
Yeah.
It seems to have plucked all of its feathers out in stress.
No.
But it is still alive. It's still alive.
Okay.
You see as well, underneath the griffin's cage, is an owlbear. A little baby owlbear. who is getting just far too big for the cage. Looks like he's being fed, but as Chef passes, he's like, nobody wants owlbear these days. He leans down. Maybe I'll have you for supper, eh? Eh? No. And he rattles the cage a little bit. And the owlbear goes, squawk! And tries to swipe him. But he just flicks a little blood on it and goes, definitely have you for supper. And then he turns around, and there are already sort of like hanging up to dry various pieces of meat, which looks remarkably like pig and cow, so not as worrisome as some of the more rare animals. The rest of the cages are empty except for the delicacy, the catch of the day, 47 pixies. The cage is about 2 foot wide by 3 foot tall. The pixies are all about this tall compared to a forearm.
They're really crammed in there.
Really crammed in there. Most of them are clinging to each other, trying to fly around. One of them is like hysterically rattling the bars, like, I'm gonna fucking kill you! And a couple of them look pretty sickly. None of them actually, despite your friend's words, seem to be dead. But they look certainly like they are unhappy. And Chef approaches the cage and is like, what to do? One of you escaped? Seems unlikely. Should only be 47. Huh. And he goes over to the door and starts to close it behind him. Don't want any of you escaping.
Okay, I have a plan.
You have a plan?
Okay, I'm going to wait until this guy closes the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to whisper to my little pixie friend over. I'm going to be in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from what I know about pixies, you guys can all cast polymorph, right?
Oh, yeah. But there's no magic here. They'll all know and they'll come running, right?
Well, it's better... Well, there's 47 of you. So we can cast polymorph 47 times.
Pixies go, oh, but he's the only one who ever comes in here. I guess we never... But what if it doesn't work?
Sorry?
What if it doesn't work and they pluck off our wings and shit?
Well, then I'll eat them.
Fair enough. Okay.
I'm going to creep over to the cage and I'm going to try with primal savagery to dissolve the lock.
Okay. As you pick up the lock, you look and you see that there's like a little sigil in the back, which is clearly magical in nature. Make me an Arcana check.
Okay.
16 plus... Ode on a tick. Arcana. 22.
Okay. So as you check over the lock, you get an idea of why maybe the Pixies' plan for polymorph hasn't worked in the past. This is specifically to suppress magic from coming outside of the cage. So as you take the lock in your hand, you're going to need to tell me how you dissolve it.
I would like to... it's to stop magic inside from coming out of the cage, right?
Yep, but not outside going in.
You mean inside going out, so the pixies can't cast magic from inside?
Yeah, but you could, for example, if you wanted to cast magic into the cage.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay, so I will cast Primal Savagery and stick my fingernail in the lock to dissolve it.
Okay. You stick your fingernail in the lock, and for Primal Savagery, this is definitely going to hit. So I need you to just roll damage for me.
Yeah. And as I'm doing this, I'll whisper to the pixies, we're going to cast polymorph on all the bad guys, okay? We're going to get out.
Okay. They go, fuck yeah!
Okay. Primal Savagery. Just roll the damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 5, 9, 14. 14 acid damage.
14. And you see the lock begins to corrode. It's hanging on by just a thread. You need to do one more thing. I'm just going to tell you one thing, though. Causing this, the hiss of the metal. The pixies scream and yell to try and cover it for you. But Chef looks over. What are you lot doing in there? And he walks over, approaching. You've only got a moment to figure out something out.
Okay.
It looks like it would just take another swipe, to be honest. You don't have to do anything crazy.
Okay, as he approaches, to distract him, I'm gonna cast another cantrip on him.
Okay, on him. Okay, cool.
On him. It's a thing called infestation.
Oh, sick, yeah.
So I cause a cloud of mites, fleas, and parasites to appear on a creature I see within range.
Sick. He saves, or is it an attack roll?
It's a con save.
Con save 13.
No. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 3, 5. 8 poison damage.
8 poison damage. Okay. You send a swarm coming forth from you. Your invisibility breaks as you make an attack against him. And he goes, "What?" And then, and he's like fighting them off as if there are mosquitoes biting at his skin. You've bought yourself time. You're going to pull open that cage?
Yeah, I will do another primal savagery on the lock.
Go swipe against the lock this time. I'm assuming it does at least 1 damage.
Yeah, it does 5 damage.
Fab. The door opens with like a screech, and then the pixies just go, and they start coming out and go swiping at him, adding to the infestation. He's like, "What? No!" And he keeps like swiping in his hand, and his knife hand goes terrifyingly close.
I'm like, polymorph.
If this doesn't work, we're going into initiative. But
yeah,
one of the pixies jumps up, goes with a 6 on the dice. You see him get turned into
a snail.
A little snail on the floor. And the pixies go,
nice,
all at once.
Okay, I will ask the pixies to help me unlock the other cages, and then we can make our way out of the building.
Okay. You do so, and they help you free the owlbear and the griffin. The griffin looks to be the worst off. He's been obviously declawed on most of his paws. He's got like 1 claw left on the front, and when you reach in, he goes.
Can I roll an animal handling check?
Yep.
Okay. I would like to just hold my hand up and say, "I'm going to help you," and I have very good animal handling. So, 25.
25. He looks. And it kind of comes to like purring, and he clings to you very, very closely. But he's clearly in a lot of pain. But you can hold him in your arms. He's small enough for that. The owlbear bounds out and starts like kind of like jumping around all the pixies, and they all bury into his fur, hiding in the different feathers and that kind of thing. So that it looks like he's got like little feathers made of fairy wings every now and again because the pixies are hiding in him, and he just stands at your side like.
Oh. Okay, I would like to cast 1 second. Yes, I do have this. I would like to cast Speak with Animals on myself.
Okay.
So that I can communicate well with the griffin and the owlbear.
Okay.
And I would like to say to them, "Okay, we're going to get out of here, but you've got to stick with me, okay?"
Okay, the owlbear goes, "Alright, and I help my friends."
Yeah.
And the griffin goes, "Yeah, it hurts a lot."
Oh. Can I cast Healing Word on the griffin?
You can cast Healing Word on the griffin.
I will cast Healing Word on the griffin.
As you do so, there's a little like kind of rush of magic, and you see very, very tiny his claws beginning to recover on each of his paws. And you go, "Thank you." Okay.
Right, I'm adopting these. I hope nobody has any issue with that. Seeing the polymorph, he'll pick up the snail after tapping it on its shell, so it does no damage. So he picks up the snail, puts it in one of the cages, the smallest cage he can find, and locks it.
There's There's definitely one for that.
He's like, okay.
Okay. And the snail goes at you, but it's a snail, so it doesn't really do much.
It like waggles its eye stalks.
Yeah. And with that, you put your hand on the kind of kitchen, the door that leads back into the kitchen. The griffin and the owlbear are beside you. And after a moment...
And I say to the pixies, we're going to polymorph if they try to attack us, okay?
Okay. You push it open, and on the other side, you just see absolute bodies on the floor. Sarah's has got like a rolling pin and has been like, it seems, thwacking people left, right, and centre. While Loran has put to sleep at least 15 of the different servers. Gosh. And they're just staring wild-eyed at you like, save your animals.
Yeah, he pets both the owlbear and the griffin and a swarm of pixies behind him.
Sick, Loran says. Let's go. And they pull the cloaks off a couple of them, taking one for Sparks and Astra as well. So you guys all have disguises that would put you in like a good position to walk around this place freely. And they bounce.
These pixies are so powerful. I'm just looking at all the stuff they can do.
I know. And you guys can go from there. I'm going to say that's where we'll leave it for today. As you guys flee the kitchens with 47 pixies, an owlbear and a griffin.
So what did you guys get up to? Oh.
We got scammed.
We got scammed, but heard mention of the sisterhood. What did you do? 47 pixies!
47 pixies!
Mm-hmm. And a griffin.
And a griffin and owlbear.
And a dozen knocked out staff.
Indeed.
Nice.
Okay, liberate 47 pixies. I'm just putting this in my...
You cannot say that this is not incredibly in character.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the most druid thing I've ever done.
It is, yeah.
He will not stand for this. Baz is sleeping in the funniest position. He's got his mouth partly open.
Sparks and Astra arrive at the decrepit temple. Mm-hmm. Almost make enemies of most of the... I need to know what the word for the people... Corrallers? It's something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Touters, isn't it?
Touters?
Yeah.
Touters. I'm going to say it's Touters.
Would servers work? Or no?
Servers, it's all these things.
Mm.
It's... Anyway.
Attendance.
But getaway almost scot-free minus 7 gold.
Mm.
Here, casual mention of the sisterhood. Okay, that's all you need to know for the next one. Okay,